it has been this kind of a series so far, and it's been Miami that's been performing in the clutch. And look at those records. And clutch, we're talking, Shaq. Last 5 minutes, 5-point game or less. And the Heat 6-2 in this postseason. Celtics 4-6. Both games of this series have come down to clutch time, and Miami's won them both. And a prominent figure in that clutch time, apparently, or not apparently, but obviously, Jimmy Butler. Roll it.
Here we go. Take your watch. It's Jimmy time. You know what you're getting with Jimmy Butler every time he takes the floor.
Jimmy playing the way he is, this should be a lot of fun.
That's just competition at its finest. I like that. I'm all for that. It makes me key in a lot more. It pushes that will that I have to win a lot more. When people talk to me,
He's all over the place.
knowing Jimmy and at that point in the game is you kind of get him going and we'll take Mad Jimmy at any time.
That's not the answer. I relived
The masterpiece from Jimmy Butler.
Did Grant Williams make a mistake poking the bear with Jimmy Butler?
Next question.
Y'all better leave Jimmy Butler alone. That man wasn't bothering nobody.
When you're dealing with somebody as good as Jimmy, guys like that draw so much attention, you kind of have to pick your poison.
You know what Jimmy gets?
Buckets. That's what it's going to come down to, playoff Jimmy.
On three. Good!
Jimmy should show.
I feel like in the fourth, it's all about getting the bucket.
Throws up the mid-ranger, and it's pure. Butler launching a three.
Our game plan is kind of simple in the fourth quarter. Give me the ball and move. I pride myself on finding that open guy. I really do.
To the trailing on a bio.
ABJ Cup. Anybody but Jimmy.
This may be the greatest playoff performance by any Heat player.
I can only tell y'all so many times how much confidence that my teammates put in me, the coaching staff puts in me to just go out there and hoop. I've never been a guy to say that the player that I am today isn't because of my teammates. It's always because of them. We know what we're capable of, and we're going to continue to fight to the end.
He's been something to see in this series, averaging 31, 6, and 6. And obviously, one of the big topics of conversation after Game 2, Shaq, was this whole Jimmy Butler, Grant Williams poking the bear thing. What was, from where you sit, what did you make of that?
I was sitting next to you. Jimmy was having a good game, but as a great player, when you wake them up, especially in key moments, this is what they do. They go to that next level right here. Listen, Jimmy Butler is the perfect prototype player. Doesn't complain, plays hard, does his thing, doesn't disrespect people. But when you smack him around, Kenny Chuck is going to smack you back. Now look, I'm not going to just sit here and talk about Jimmy because Jimmy has two different modes. It's like a video game joystick. He can do that by himself, or he can say, you know what, I'm going to be aggressive and I'm going to kick it to my guys. Duncan, Vincent, Struce, Love, they're all making him look good, and this is why this team is so dangerous.
You know, depending on whose articles you read on the off day, there were those who said, hey, what Grant Williams did was wrong. He shouldn't have done it. He picked the wrong guy. Others were saying, look, he's trying to inject life into a team that was playing pretty lifeless basketball.
I had no problem with Grant Williams, what he did. And Jimmy had no problem. He said, I like that. There was no chance there was going to be violence. There was no fighting. I mean, because if they were going to, some bad was going to happen when they were smelling each other's breath, that could have got out of hand. But I got to tell you something. Jimmy Butler has been really, really good. But that's not the reason the Heat up 2-0. Caleb Martin won. You know, Jimmy scored all the points in the fourth quarter, but if Caleb Martin hadn't been awesome, the Heat wouldn't have even been in the game. The Boston Celtics, they got to stop. I got a chance to meet Max Struess the other night. He said he hate Kenny and Shaq. They don't know how to pronounce his name.
He did not say that.
But him and Vincent and Duncan Robinson, those really the guys who won this series. I think if the Celtics had said, hey, Jimmy's shooting about 50%, He's averaging 30. That's what that guy's going to do. But we got to start plugging these holes on these other guys. Caleb Martin can't have a game like he had. So for me, yeah, I love the love that playoff Jimmy is getting. But, man, we got to give these other guys on the Miami Heat a lot of credit because they're carrying their load. And like I say, Jimmy's been winning the game in the fourth quarter, but those other guys been winning the game in the first three quarters.
Go ahead, Kenny, weigh in.
I think we said it I've said it the other night. 3 through 7 wins the championship. 1 and 2 gets you there, and they're gonna suffice. But what's interesting about Jimmy Butler, he reminds me of like James Worthy in a sense when they used to call him Big Game James, because in these moments, if you look at Jimmy Butler, you say, is his ball handling skill is of wizardry? You'd be like, no. Is his athleticism like wow you to death? No. Is his shooting from the outside Steph Curry like? No. But what happens is separates Jimmy is decisions. He will, as Shaq said before, he's such a willing passer, and he keeps you off balance. Decision making is what makes you a great basketball player. They all jump the same amount of ropes, they all lift the same amount of rate, they all run the same laps. But when you make a decision, a basketball decision that you have to live with, that's what Jimmy Butler is in tune with. He's able to make correct basketball decisions every play.
And I'm over here to talk about something Kenny talked about. When us guys who get paid, we're like, okay, we've seen the tape. Let's put all the names down on the stat sheet. To piggyback on Kenny's point, I said, okay, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. Those are the 4 best players in this series. And you would say, okay, who's next? Marcus Smart, maybe.
Marcus Smart, Al Horford, Brogdon.
Yes, and it hasn't been. It's been Caleb Martin. It's been Lowry.
Vincent,
Kyle Lowry has outplayed any of those guys on the Celtics.
That's what I told you guys at the beginning. It's all about the culture. Boston's a very talented team, but they've been too up and down. This is not the time in the season to be up and down. Miami Heat's going to play the same way whether they win or lose. That's why I picked up.
I'm saying, but I was just talking about when we start the series, I saw a poll on ESPN. Well, 97% of their people picked the Boston Celtics. I was like, I think the Celtics going to win the series too. But the point I want to give Kenny some love because I'm saying, man, we got 4 guys who we consider stars, but the Celtics role players, Ernest's stat about rebounding, I'm shocked that the Miami Heat have beat the Boston Celtics in rebounding in both games.
Bam Adebayo has out-rebounded the combination of Al Horford and Robert Williams in this series.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, 25-20. And another thing, the team is relentless, and this team rises to the moment in these games. 3-2 in this postseason when they trail by 10 or more in the fourth quarter. 3-2, trailing by double digits in the fourth quarter. The rest of the playoff field, 1-53 in that circumstance.
But the other thing about that, Ernie, if you could look at it as how great they are, it also lets you know that at times they're average. Like, they don't have an advantage, so they could be down 10 and going into a fourth quarter. And that's the thing, is like, that's what's surprising about the Miami Heat. The ability to persevere through that, but they're not going to out-talent you. They don't have guys who all over the place that are just so much better than every
Bernie, but also when you blow leads, the other team has to help you. You go back to the Milwaukee series, they missed 1 million free throws. What's the one problem with the Boston Celtics? They are so careless with the ball. Those turnovers, like when you have a double-digit lead, like the other team has to help you. The Celtics, they don't do the little